Hey, what's up everyone? I'm LeftyHeat, and today I am with Noah. He is the owner of LegendZelda.net, and we're going to talk with him about some Skyward Sword. And I know the game is coming out, or if you're watching this video, it's probably already released on November 20th, 2011 in the United States. And you said that you're playing through the game and you're at the last boss, is that correct?
Yes, I am on the final dungeon of the game, where I'll be fighting off against the primary antagonist who is trying to resurrect his master, and that will be the final confrontation, which actually kind of leads up to the events of Ocarina of Time.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. And what is your experience like, or what was your experience so far playing through the game? I know IGN gave this game a 10 out of 10. Do you think that rating really showcases this game, and what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think the game is a 10 out of 10. It's definitely one of the better Zelda games over the last few years, but we also haven't had much to compete with. We had Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass, and if you want to go back all the way 5 years ago, Twilight Princess. Skyward Sword is really fun. It's the first 3D Zelda game that we've had in quite some time. But they didn't change as much as they said they were going to. One of the highlights that Nintendo kept emphasizing was that there was going to be a new formula. The dungeons were going to be different. It wasn't going to be go into a dungeon, get an item, leave, go to a new area, get in a dungeon, item, leave, new area. And that's essentially what we did, except the only thing they changed is that they made us revisit the same area 3 different times. You go to, there's 3 different regions, Lanayru, Eldin, and the Faron Woods, and you visit those 3 areas. You do a dungeon there, then there's a major story change. Then you go back, you do another dungeon in each of those areas, and then there's a story change. And then you go back and you're collecting more stuff. So the only thing they did was they took away more areas to explore, and they made you revisit the same areas again and again. And I mean, while it's different, it's not necessarily a step in the right direction, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I know the guy who was reviewing it on IGN said there was a lot of replay value in those levels, and when you go back, he said it was like a whole nother mission, a new experience. Do you agree with that?
To a degree, I do. After the first time through, when you go back for the second dungeon, in each of the 3 areas, you are exploring a new region in those little areas. In Faron Woods, you'll end up discovering a new entire area. Same with Lanayru, and in the Eldin volcano area, you acquire an item where you can become resistant to heat and go up more into the volcano. But at the same time, those areas aren't as large as the actual areas themselves, so it's just kind of a minor addition, and it's not actually like you're exploring a whole lot of the new area.
That's cool. But you did say that this was probably one of the best Zelda games you have played so far, right?
Well, with me, I've always liked the 2 Oracle games the best, which is not what most Zelda fans will state. They're going to say Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, maybe the Wind Waker, some people Majora's Mask. To me, my favorite 3D Zelda game is still the Wind Waker, even after playing this game. And it's for a variety of reasons. I just think the overall gameplay was better in the Wind Waker. And one of the things that people were worried about that kind of compares to Wind Waker, with Wind Waker you had the boat, which people thought was too tedious to get around on.
See, I liked the boat. I thought the boat was good, and I know that the guy from IGN, I know we're bringing up this guy a lot, but like, it's a big deal that he gave this a 10 out of 10. He called it a masterpiece, and he said that this is like the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess combined with the graphic-wise, because you had that cartoon look of the Wind Waker, and then you had the new modernized, or the modern look of Twilight Princess. So
yeah, I agree with that. People have been complaining ever since the graphics were revealed. There's been a lot of people whining about, oh, it's not Twilight Princess again, it's not realistic. To me, it's just Ocarina of Time, except updated. I mean, Ocarina of Time
That's cool, 'cause
was far from realistic. It didn't look anything realistic. It looked like a cartoon to a degree, and this thing really does too. It's not like a cartoon with the Wind Waker. I mean, Link had big buggy eyes. They were all expressive, and everybody looked like an anime character. This looks nothing like that. It's pretty much Twilight Princess with some Ocarina of Time influence, and it's just colorful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on now. Since you have this website I know that you got the game early. Can you tell us a little bit about that and like the process, maybe how you get games early? Because I know a lot of people are really wanting to know what's behind that. Like, how do you do that?
All right. Well, first of all, you don't want to contact Nintendo. They use a third-party press company called Golan Harris, and they're pretty selective with who they give stuff to at times. And you just contact them. I first set up a press contact back in early May, and that was to, I originally contacted him to get Skyward Sword, and I was told I was on the list to get a press copy of the game, but of course that was still like half a year before it came out, so they told me they were going to send me Ocarina of Time as well, which was a nice little extra bonus. And since I got Ocarina of Time, I was assuming I would be getting Skyward Sword, because that's what I was told, and it would make sense. But then as time went on, they began ignoring my email. My press contact actually quit Golan Harris. I got a new contact who, they did, like, I know they're busy, but nobody there wanted to respond with emails. They would ignore phone calls, voice messages, and I actually had quite a big blow-up with them. Where my girlfriend actually called them on the day that we were supposed to get press copies, sites started to get their copies, and I realized that I was not getting one. And she said, "Oh, let me call them." I already had called them twice that day, left an email, and was pretty much blown off. She calls them, wanting to know why we're not getting a copy. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of it, but you know that we had all the top search rankings for Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I know that that's your site, right? Your site had that?
Yes. So it would make sense for us to get a copy, and she was asking why aren't we, and a few minutes later the guy called me back, and I had a copy overnighted to me. So
that's great.
It was quite...
I'm sure a lot of people are jealous.
Yeah, I'm sure they were.
That's great. And so yeah, this game, it looks like... I know that I was also reading an article, and it said, "Is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword the Wii's last great game?" Do you believe it is, or do you want to talk about that?
It's definitely their last great game. The Wii is dying, and I'm sure everybody who plays video games and pays attention to the industry knows that Nintendo is taking a big hit right now. The 3DS launch was a failure. They haven't had any support.
See, wait, hold on. I disagree that it was a failure. However, they lost a lot of money. So I guess you would say it was like a failure when it comes to Nintendo's budget and the overall, like, how they run the corporation.
The 3DS launch, at first, 3DS is actually selling more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're selling more 3DSs than they were DSs at the same rate. But at the same time, the launch titles... It's one of the worst set of launch titles I've ever seen.
I have to agree.
And like they had like a remake of Rayman or something. Yeah. And that was their best game, unless you like Street Fighter, which I'm not into that kind of stuff.
I was disappointed in Street Fighter and Pilot Wings. I'm not really into Street Fighter, and I played it a few times. I thought it was pretty good for one of the first 3DS games, and then Pilot Wings was just okay. But I feel like they should have produced, like, or put out Super Mario 3D Land at the launch. Even Mario Kart 7 should have been a launch game.
They should have had at least one Nintendo, like, developed game at launch. Zelda, Mario, Star Fox. But since then, we've had Ocarina of Time 3D, which is a remake, Star Fox, which was a remake, and the only good game, in my opinion, since then has been Resident Evil Mercenaries, and now, of course, Super Mario Land 3D. So, I mean, the game, it kind of botched it up, and they had to drop their prices, and their sales have definitely increased, but Nintendo's hurting on other fronts as well. The Wii, they haven't had when's the last good game they had on the Wii that came out?
Yeah, maybe Galaxy 2, right?
Yeah, and that was a couple of years ago, 2007. So, Skyward Sword's pretty much it. I mean, I know there's a Mario Party, I believe, and that's not going to be anything. That's just a casual release. It's not going to get anybody excited.
Yeah, well, except your hardcore Mario Party fans that are probably getting all pumped up, getting ready for the launch of that game.
Yeah, I'm a
party it up at GameStop. Yeah. All right, so we're getting ready to end this interview. There's a couple things I just wanted to ask you really quickly. What are your thoughts on the Zelda Wii U? I know they're planning a game for the Wii U. Do you have any thoughts on a Zelda game that would come out for that?
Well, I mean, everybody saw the tech demo at E3. people were overwhelmed at how great that looked. And honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of Twilight Princess graphics, but if it can look that good, then I say do it again. That thing looked incredible. The lighting effects, everything was spectacular. So I would love to see them go that direction. I'm a little bit concerned about the controller. I'm sure most people are. It's pretty much a tablet. The only real use I can see for that right now is item inventory, and that's not really anything amazing. So I want to see them actually be innovative with the controller and come up with some cool gameplay features, and then I'll be sold on it.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks again for being on this Skyward Sword talk, and it was kind of like an interview. And I'm really looking forward to the game. I'm going to be playing through that. I'll put up a launch video when I go get the game. And be sure to check out Noah's website, legendzelda.net. You guys are going to have the walkthrough up there, right?
We'll have our video Let's Play. We're actually partnered with Zelda Dungeon to provide text walkthrough through them.
Cool. Looking forward to that. So I'll have his link in the description of this video and also on an annotation. And I hope you guys enjoyed this preview and interview of Skyward Sword. I will see you guys next time. This is LeftyHeat signing out. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks.